Hello, welcome to our 8-minute presentation of modules 1 through 3. This will hopefully will be a high impact review for the midterm. We're covering the first 3 critical units of this course, tracing the life cycle of American engineering from its raw beginnings to its corporate adulthood. Our goal is to highlight the key concepts and turning points that we need to know. Let's dive in with the first unit. Unit 1, it kind of reveals this paradox. We have this early American infrastructure that was built, but we lacked engineers. So that was pretty harsh because we had Elton Morrison. He was, at the time, a very keynote speaker, and he describes it that we had plenty of know-how, skilled artisans, but we had a lot of mechanics that had a little systematic knowledge, and this really derived from the European science and math. Our practice was craft-based at this time, making large-scale, complex projects incredibly challenging for the engineers at that time. So here, we got slide 2. We all talks about the Erie Canal. We have DeWitt Clinton, who successfully argued that it was not just a ditch, but a political and commercial necessity. The Erie Canal was a bridge between the east and the interior, but it was crucial because America had lacked trained engineers at this time, and this canal became our first engineering school, really. It was a massive learn-as-you-go type national project. We have the rise of American engineers, kind of like John B. Jervis. He is the perfect example because Jervis didn't go to a university. He didn't go to a college. He learned really on the canal, getting promoted based on applied experience. This is later detailed engineering. His later detailed engineering designs show that systematic knowledge was finally acquired through work and not school. This was the birth of the American civil engineering kind of life that they lived at this time. And then finally, to end Module 1, we can remember the contrast with the past, like medieval cathedrals, like in the first photo there. Those builders, their work was really slow and based on any kind of inherited craft secrets that they'd learned through families, friends, or maybe people who they learned under. The Erie Canal, however, was this really big modern project. It was fast, it was government-based, and managed towards a fixed deadline. This industrial approach demanded professionalized labor, which brings us all the way up to unit or module 2.
All right, so in this section, I'll talk about how engineering transformed in the late 1800s from hands on work to a respected profession through education, professional societies, and the new industrial needs. So industrial growth was growing rapidly, and therefore, this there was a huge demand for engineers. In the second half of the 19th century, the U.S. industrialized fast, like railroads, steel, electricity. All these things, created a massive demand for skilled engineers, and work shifted from like farms and stuff to a large industrial needing trained professionals. And because there was a need for trained professionals, there has to be some sort of educational system that was created and to train these professionals. And this is where the Morrill Land Grant Act came in. And basically, the Morrill Land Grant Act gave states federal land to fund universities teaching agriculture and mechanical arts. This opened higher education to more Americans, and that fueled the growth in engineering programs. So early engineers learned by doing, and like for example, building the Erie Canal and railroads, And but as technology became more advanced and schools shifted towards theory and science over time, and theory became the foundation of modern engineering. Um, to gain a status and unity, and engineers formed societies, and like the American Society for Civil Engineering and American Society for Mining Engineers. And these groups raised standards and promoted education and helped engineers to gain recognition as true professionals and not just like company workers. And unfortunately, there were still some inequalities and exclusion. And despite all these advances, women and minorities like African Americans and Native Indians or Native Americans were largely excluded, and social barriers and discrimination limited who could study or join an engineering society. And by the early 1900s, engineering um, became more and more advanced, and it became a professional field supported by education societies, and that shift gave engineers lasting power and prestige in modern America. That's it.
Okay, for the midterm, I'll be suggesting that we pay more attention to these inventors and their inventions. In module 3, um, first we'll be looking at Thomas Edison with his diamond disc phonograph. This is a pattern of a sound recorder that helped to record sound in the phonograph, and then this is a pattern of the photograph repeater. This helped to revolutionize recording. At the time, there was no device that ever recorded sound and played it back. So this was the first of its kind, and it was a very big revolution at the time. The next is the Tesla Tower. He also had a vision to help ease to revolutionize global communication and energy transmission. Even though this vision of his never came to fruition, it failed due to several reasons, which the chapter also elaborated on. And lastly, we have the Bell Telephone Laboratories, in short, the Bell Labs, which is in New Jersey, the headquarters of New Jersey. Initially, it was the research and development arm of the AT&T, but then transitioned to one of the most influential industrial research and development organizations in history that helped to revolutionize how our communication is today. And this research organization produced over 40,000 patents that has helped with the development and enhancement of electronics development as of today in several ways. Okay, I think that's it. These are the few inventions and inventors that I think we should focus on for the meeting.